Women, Wealth, and Worth: The Irresistible Benefits of Financial Independence. In today's episode, we are going to discuss the importance of a woman's financial independence and how that expands her agency and her ability to move around in the world. If you're new here, my name is Athena. I am a CPA and women's wealth coach and the founder of Wewealth Women, where we teach and help and nurture women to create their own wealth and create a life that they deserve. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing some key points that every woman should know, every woman should understand, and has been really the key for women's advancement and success in the future. So if you are interested in learning more about that, please stay tuned. All right, so let's get right into it. So, this has been something that I've always been discussing for a long time, and really the goal of We Wealth Women has been to get women to take ownership of their own wealth narrative, and the things that we can do to assist us in that wealth journey. And in this episode, I want to break down really why that is important and also offer some perspectives that you may not have thought about or does not really get discussed a lot as to why wealth is so important to us and why it has been somewhat a struggle for a lot of women to make that journey or to ascend in that manner. So I want to just go to a clip that I saw. Shout out to Rachel Rogers. She reposted this, but it is Priyanka Chopra. And she was discussing her reasons why she wanted to become financially independent on her own. So I will present that to you right now.
Women should be financially independent. It doesn't matter who your father is, doesn't matter who your husband is going to be, doesn't matter who your brother is, it doesn't matter who the man in your life is. You need to be responsible for your finances and be financially independent. And that kind of really stuck with me.
Okay. And this is interesting coming from Priyanka because she is married to a man who has money as well. And from my understanding, she came into that marriage with her own. And even with what she said, her dad, her brothers, the men in her life, she really stuck to making sure that she, as a woman on her own, would be able to provide the life that she wanted to live. Now, in this episode, I'm going to discuss three key points that we need to think about and consider as women as to why it is important for us to be financially independent. But before I even go further into that, I also want to say that it is great if you have support financially, if you have support from your family, if you have support from a partner or a spouse, if you have support from your siblings. This is not to bash that or diminish that or to say that you should not seek that as a woman. Because even in my course, actually, my workshop that is available, I discuss the three ways women acquire wealth, and one of them is, and two of them involve men. It come family inheritance or marriage. So I'm not really saying that that is not important, but what I want to focus on is the third way women acquire wealth, because that avenue opens up so much agency, and I feel gets diminished a lot. So it's really just highlighting why this is important. So the first reason why this is important is security. You want to be secure as a woman, and a lot of our drives, whether it's biological, subconscious, whatever the emotional, whatever the source is coming from, is on a human level, we desire security. Security in our relationships, security in our physical environment. That is our number one, I think, drive in life is to be secure. And with money, with wealth, it provides security on so many levels. Financial security, obviously, right? But it makes you emotionally secure because you're not as stressed. It makes you have, options as to who and what you want to deal with because you're not factoring, oh, I have to be in this relationship or I have to be in this even family or I have to make these decisions because if I don't make this decision, there's a financial repercussion that will negatively impact me because I do not fully control or have agency with money and wealth in that way. So that is important. The money and wealth you have determine, where you can live, what you can afford to do, and who you're spending that time with. So the first reason I think is important that women establish wealth and their own financial independence is so that they can have security in their life. Now, the second reason, which I think is great, which I think is something that we don't discuss a lot, is mental and emotional balance with finances, with wealth, with money. You can experience a more mentally and emotionally stable life. Why is that? When your finances are not in order and you are stressed about, can you afford to pay your rent? Can you afford to pay your mortgage? Can you afford to buy the quality foods that you want? Can you afford to provide the children, your children, the resources and access and activities and things that they desire as well? So when you do not have that or have plans or some stability around that, it creates a lot of stress. Stress is very bad for women. I'm not saying it's not bad for men either, but stress affects our body differently. High levels of cortisol wreaks havoc on our health. Women have higher rates of autoimmune diseases. Women have higher rates of health complications. We are very much so sensitive to stress. And when you do not have your money, your finances, your wealth in order, it increases that stress. You are worrying about your safety and security. You are worried about if you can survive in this world. You are living in a state of survival versus a state of thriving. And you are even going to have to subject yourself. I see a lot of women subject themselves to bad relationships, to bad family dynamics, because you feel like you have to endure these things to have the resources that you need. And when you have the resources yourself, you can navigate those relationships with more agency. You're in less fear. You are not worried about if you're going to afford your mortgage or your rent or whatever this month. The stress goes down. You can afford more than just the necessities. You can afford the luxuries in life. You can have the experiences that you want to have. You can travel and go see the world. You can go to your favorite concerts. You can just have the things that you desire. And you don't necessarily have to beg or kowtow or subject yourself to undesirable behavior and undesirable people because you would have had that for yourself. So the mental and emotional balance is key. We tend to have a high rate of depression. 45% of women report that they experience financial stress. So half the women that you are meeting and engaging with on a day-to-day basis are stressed the hell out from finances. One of the top 3 reasons people get divorced is money. And the funny thing is how money and wealth and all of those conversations are still kind of taboo to have. It's just under the table, kind of hush hush. We don't discuss these things, but it impacts so much. It impacts. I can't really think of an asset or no facet of life that money does not touch or does not affect. So, if you want to experience more peace, mental and emotional balance in your life, having a solid financial and wealth plan is key for that. The third point I want to make in this transmission is that it's important. It's important to have financial independence to experience more freedom in your life. Now, I cannot define what freedom is for you or how that shows up in your life, but you need to have resources and able to have options so you can make decisions with more agency, so you can have more options, so you're not making decisions based on what you have to do necessarily, and you have more choice and you're doing what you choose to do. What you choose to do. We are living in a time of global unrest, global inflation, economic downturns, job insecurity. I know a lot of women, whether or not they're having these conversations with the women around them, are experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, having to work and do things you don't necessarily care for or like. And you have to really think about what that does to you in your life over time. You know, you need to figure out as women what our life is going to mean for us outside of the roles that we play as mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, aunties, whatever it may be. We have to figure out what our life is going to mean to us. It is hard and more difficult to navigate the world when you're pressed for resources, when you're pressed for time, when you're stressed about how you're going to manage it all. And that is how we have these high rates of stress and depression and anxiety and, feeling that we're drowning, that we never make headway. And I don't want that for us. I want us to, especially the women who follow me, I want us to have fun. I want us to have joy. I want us to have love. I want us to experience all that. And I'm not saying you can't have any of that without money, but money helps to facilitate that more. It removes a lot of inconvenience and stress around certain things in life so that you have the time, energy, and means to create what you desire. And that is what helps with happiness. You're more happy when you're doing the things that you love and you want to do. And that is why wealth is so important. That is why freedom is so important. Okay. And the goal of Wewealth Women it has always been to help facilitate that. Um, through the courses and workshops the podcast, the YouTube, everything that we have always encouraged women to do has been to do just that, really, right? And I encourage you all to stay tuned, stay plugged in, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the wealth notes. All right. Wherever you're listening or watching this, the links to everything will be in the description or show notes. Right? If you're a woman who feels like you don't know where to start or it might be overwhelming, I created the Goddess Guide to Money to help with that. to help with that. So it's really like an intro, step by step, to give you understanding and also to give you an action plan on what to do. But I love you, ladies. I'm wishing all of you the best. The three things to recap why financial independence is so important is because it provides us security. It helps facilitate mental and emotional balance with us. And it gives us more freedom, the freedom of more access, the freedom to choose and make decisions because we want to, not because we have to, because we're financially beholden. But I love you, ladies. I hope this transmission was useful. I hope it gave you food for thought. And I'll see you in the next episode.